Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. There are those who have heard these kinds of channels many times, and we welcome them. And then there are the first-timers who have not. There's always the first-timers. And we say to them, isn't it interesting? You have the same voice, the same intellect, the same human who a moment ago actually stepped away. How is this process possible? And I will tell you, it is that which you have perceived which gets you literally into trouble cognizing this or believing it because you've expected something else. We've said many times that over the years, the eons, channeling is the way Spirit talks to you. Let me take you back hundreds of years, even where you sit today. And there is a group who is meeting. You might call them the indigenous, the originals, the first Americans. And if you look at what they do, of how they treat that which is Mother Nature, God, Spirit, whatever you say, the first thing they do is they honor their ancestors. And in honoring their ancestors, you may not understand, they are honoring themselves because they see themselves as a product of their ancestors. They may even have the concept of past lives, and they are their own ancestors. And an elder, the one who is assigned as the one who is the oldest and the wisest, after a certain amount of time or a certain amount of singing or dancing, would actually have a statement or a message or perhaps a prophecy. And it all is channeled. That is how it works. And that is always how it has worked. The acknowledgement that the elder was the one who had the ability to lead the others is not that uncommon. If you go back further and on another continent, thousands of years before that, they were simply doing it the same, except the gender was switched. Now I take you to Australia, and it was all women. And the idea of this is they are the life givers. They are the ones with the intuition. They are the ones who raise humanity and children. What better to have the shamanship and the channeling that humanity with them needed. And so what you see in the chair is only strange because your society says it is. Now, I'm speaking long enough so far for you to get used to this. And I'm going to ask you, are you starting to feel that the energy is different? This is not the man who stood before you. The subject today is what it always is. The magnificence of the human being. In this new energy is startling. What is starting to happen in society will take generations. But what we want to tell you is what we have said before. There is precedent here. This has happened before in other places. And so when you hear the channeling of expectations of the prophecy, perhaps, of where it's going and what's going to happen and what is going on at this moment, it is a reflection of what has happened before. And in that there should be some solace. What happens with change? What happens when things start to get better? There's often upheaval. There's often a retranscription of reality where you have to get adjusted to something that literally was not there before. If new things are presented to the psyche of the human being, the first reaction is fear. A new reality is not comfortable until it is absorbed, until it is tried, until it's comfortable. And what is going on, not necessarily just in this room, but within old souls and humanity in general, is the upheaval of change. The thing that you are starting to see the most is what I will call the exposure of the white hats and black hats. No more fence sitting is what we have told you is upon this planet. And the darkness is starting to show clearly. Whereas before it was muddled in the soup of grayness, you might say, of your very existence. You might have lived for 20, 30, 40 years on this planet and been part of major conspiracies, of Illuminatis, of control, and never really truly understood it because it was in the grayness under the hood. And now it's not. And suddenly you start to see it and you react. And what that's going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is it's going to create choice that you never had before. And that choice overwhelmingly, we've seen it, is going to be for the light. Integrity and transparency. And it starts with upheaval. It starts with things that don't make sense. It starts with a dark army that cuts people's heads off and wants to create horror and sorrow and darkness everywhere. Not a country-based army, but one that has no borders at all. First time, a dark army without borders, without a common language. We've said that over and over and over so that you'll see it as unique to your time and right on schedule. The knee-jerk reaction to the dark over light is that they must survive at any cost, and they're going to climb out of the woodwork. You're going to see it everywhere. It's going to come in many disguises, outrageousness, change, and it's already among those here know it. And it's in everyday life. You're going to see light workers that are having to make decisions. You can no longer, we talked about this last time, you can no longer subscribe to these kinds of energies and then go out of the room and live differently. That is a paradigm that you have gotten used to, dear ones. And the paradigm says that you go to worship and you dress for it and you sing songs and you kneel. And then you go home and you get in your regular clothes and you're somebody else. And you do that for year after year and you call it acceptable, never understanding it's not even real. And now it gets real. What do you believe? Do you carry it into your life? When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you think? There are those who will put their feet on the ground and say, here it is, another wretched day. And it will be. Created from their mouths, their consciousness, and they will walk from place to place and everything will go wrong. And they'll cry throughout the day because everything is wrong. Never understanding that their consciousness precedes them. And then there are those who will put their feet on the ground and smile and chuckle and say, here I am again, magnificent in a beautiful world. And you'll say, well, Kryon, are you just fooling yourself? It's not a beautiful world. Maybe it is to the one who walks around and creates a beautiful bubble wherever they go. A countenance which is gentle, which allows them to laugh, which has compassion for others wherever they go. That's the beauty of their world, and they're creating it wherever they are. These are the new masters of the planet. And you're going to see more and more of this dark and light. Have you been with friends who are no longer friends? Because all they did was drama. Did you have perhaps a whole decade long of a friendship when all you tried to do was help somebody? But every single time you met with them, the story was the same. The tape was played over and over. And finally you realized it was never going to change because that was the reality that they've chosen to create. And so you dismiss and you are on your own, creating your own bubble. The difference is this, dear ones, that your bubble is light and is being shared. Wherever you walk, the darkness recedes. This is the new energy. And light is winning over dark, which means that if you have a compassionate consciousness, it's infectious. People are going to want to be around you, to see what you have that others don't. That carries you through life differently. It makes it so that you and your children have a better life and you react differently to them and they see you differently. You at work is different. You with others is different. And we say again, is it just same old, or are you starting to wake up to something that not only is different, it's joyful, magnificent, infectious, desirable? I'll say it again. You will live longer if you laugh. You will live longer. The chemistry will change who you are. The joy factor is the subject. And in this changing energy of today, this is what you are trying to achieve. Tonight, my message is going to be one that is slightly different. We're going to talk about that which is without and within. A new paradigm, literally, of how you meditate, of how you worship, of how you look at Spirit or God, starting to evolve and grow up into who you are and always were. Getting out of the old paradigms of linearity that you saw when you were born. Even in this, which you call the New Age. We sit in a time that is different, and in this area, what you have is beautiful. Meditators. It's why I am here. It is why my partner is in Fairfield. Because the energy that is created with consciousness is palpable. Because it is a sweet and gentle place when there are those with compassion looking to Spirit for guidance. And there are so many of them that the land resounds with it. The crystalline grid remembers it. And even those who simply drive through the city will feel it. You're in the right place at the right time to hear this message. Beauty is coming to this planet in so many different ways. The little pockets will start to grow. Wisdom will start to be seen finally as desirable. The rock throwing that you currently see in your politics eventually will diminish. There will even be wisdom there, unbelievable as it seems. This is where it's going. There will be those who will hear this and read this someday, a long time from now, and will recognize that it really is prophecy. And fulfillment of that prophecy, the potential of it, is in your lap, old soul. Because you're not going to sit and watch it and wait for it. You're going to create it. That's your job. Compassionate action is what we're asking for every day as you walk the planet. And that's enough for now. And so it is.